Hey, what's going on, guys? XP here. And yes, this video is long overdue. I've been meaning to make this for, I don't know, a year or more. But hey, as you guys know, in any kind of simming, whether it's flight simming, racing simming, train simming, guess what happens? Change is constant. And yes, my sim is also in a state of change. So whatever wire is out of place you might see, or what's not finished or proper, it is what it is. But I promised to make this video for you guys. So here we go. Let's jump into it. What do we got going on at the XP headquarters? Yes. Now we have two sim setups than what we had before. We only had one. We were doing switching out connections and ports and cables and hardware and stuff like that. Now we have two stations in our setup, and we're gonna go through them real quick. It's not gonna be a long video. Start with what we're here for, flight simming. That's the key, man. What do we got going on in flight simming, guys? So I'm trying to think of what's the first to let you guys know what's the heart of the simming gonna be. And I think, of course, it's going to be the hardware, right? It's definitely the hardware. So what we're rocking right now is the Thrustmaster suite of products for both Boeing and Airbus. So what we got is, we got the Thrustmaster TCA yoke and throttle. The yoke has got to be the best yoke out there. I don't care what anybody says, no better yoke exists in my opinion, but that's just me, I'm biased. But Thrustmaster yoke with the TCA throttle quadrant we're rocking. And for the Airbus, Thrustmaster TCA Airbus edition also, that's with the joystick or side stick, and the throttle quadrant is so pretty. I love this throttle quadrant, it looks so nice. So that's what we're rocking as far as the hardware is concerned to manipulate and control your airplane. Yes, we do fly about Microsoft Flight Sim and X-Plane 12 now. Currently, that's what we're rocking. However, to go along with that, we got more peripherals, which I like to take a look at here. We got the autopilot panel from Vuzix. It makes it so much easier to fly in VATSIM when you're manipulating controls. You don't have to like do it in the virtual cockpit with your scroll wheel and mouse, stuff like that. We got a radio panel, which is the Logitech radio panel that natively works with X-Plane, and with Microsoft Flight Sim, I'm using a program called SPAD.next to make that work. Typically, it wouldn't work out of the box so far, so now it works with SPAD.next on the radio panel. I have my iPad. My iPad is my FMC for most planes. I did a video on that before. I'll probably put it in the description, where you can use the PMDG with the Avia CDU. You can use the fly-by-wire A320 airplanes with that because of fly-by-wire sim bridge. And then with X-Plane, you have WebFMC for X-Plane 12. Work with 11 now, it works with 12. You can manipulate your aircraft. So I have the iPad FMC, which is killer for me. Also, I'm using my Tobi Eye Tracker. That's for me to be able to turn my head left and right, and it moves in the virtual cockpit on the screen itself. So that's pretty much rock solid. I used to be at 3 monitors for my flight simming. I went back to 2 because I found that I'm losing lots of frames, lots of stutters. The minute I went back to 2 monitors, I cut that all down. 1 monitor is for the sim itself, full screen, and then the other monitor is to monitor my OBS for my broadcasting, my music, which is iTunes. I have Discord on there, have the web browser on there, so I can monitor chat. So that's what I use with the 2 monitors on it. Now, one of the biggest parts of the sim, which you're gonna be sitting in front of this thing for a long time, is the chair. I am using the Next Level Racing, basically flight sim chair. It's a Boeing style chair, basically. It's very supportive. I have lots of cushion on it. You can recline the seat back and forth. It's got a cutout for your yoke in between your legs, which is awesome. And then you can slide the seat in and out in front of the sim when you get in there. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. Shout out to Next Level Racing for that. As far as my rudder pedals are concerned, also, I'm using the Thrustmaster TPR rudder pedals. Very, very, very good rudder pedals. Of all the other rudder pedals I've tried, this is the best one I have. The Thrustmaster TPR rudder pedals is just, yeah, it's that good. I love these things. I wouldn't fly without it. And so that's overall for my flight sim setup. Now, the reason why I had 3 monitors too was because I started picking up racing. Yes, I started driving Assetto Corsa, and now Assetto Corsa Competizione. And I am so happy that I'm privileged to have 2 different setups versus 1, because what used to happen is I used to have to unplug all the equipment, plug in the wheel, plug in the wheelbase, plug in the brake pedals, remove the rudder pedals back and forth, and it was a pain to do. And I ended up with 2 chairs from Next Level Racing. They sent the Boeing chair to me recently, and I had the previous GT chair from Next Level Racing. So I have the GT Cockpit from Next Level Racing, and that is what I use to mount my GT steering wheel and my wheelbase. I have a Moza R9 wheelbase, and I have the GT wheel from Moza. Those are the only wheels that I have right now. Previously, I used to use a Thrustmaster all-in-one setup for that, but I moved over to the Moza direct drive wheelbase and the GT steering wheel. Love it, love it, love it. Now, my 3 monitors that you guys are looking at are basically 3 TVs. All my monitors are not computer monitors, they're TVs, because you can go bigger on the TV. It's not as sharp as a gaming monitor, but at 60 hertz, it's good enough for me to use. It's nice and bright. The image is nice and big. And I'm using 3 32-inch monitors for driving. Gives me like a surround view, and actually it's very immersive. I had it bigger. I did have 3 42-inch, and it was causing me stutters on my flight sim. So I went back to 3 smaller television monitors, 3 32-inch, and they're all mounted on a Next Level Racing light stand. Now, it is a modified stand. The Next Level Racing light stand is actually for 1 monitor, but I made a bracket in the back that is managing 3 monitors, as you guys can tell. My brake pedals are Thrustmaster, I want to say TLDR rudder pedals. I have a link in the description below. I'm using the Thrustmaster brake pedals for now. I haven't gone to a higher brand brake pedals. These work fine. I just need to learn how to drive properly, basically on that. As you guys could see, I am using my Logitech headset in my streams, both for the racing and both for the driving. The Logitech headset is literally 25, 30 bucks on Amazon. That's where I got it from. So I ended up getting a second one instead of having to plug in the headset from one setup to the next. I have 2 of those headsets, one for racing and one for flying. And I love the thing. And then last but not least, the computers that I'm using. I have 2 different computers. The one for flight sim I bought about a year and a half, 2 years ago. That one was a pre-made. I bought a new egg. It is a 3070 Ti graphics card, 8 gigabytes of video RAM, and then the CPU is a i7 10900K CPU. I'll put it in the description below as well. And on it, that's what's powering the flight sim, which takes way more than the racing does. The racing is using my previous PC that I use for flight simming, which is a Dell pre-made. That has a 1070 Ti and a i7, but it was like a 9600 or something like that CPU in that. So everything is completely separate with the 2 rigs, and I like it that way. I can move from one rig to the next depending on what I want to do. I don't have to unplug anything or move anything around. But that's basically my setup. I'm not going to keep you guys long. I'll put a link in the description for all the different things that I use and where you can find this. So I hope this sheds more light on what I'm doing. I know there's a bunch of wires everywhere. It's not finished. I don't think my flight simming setup will ever be finished. I don't think my racing setup will ever be finished, but this is what we got going on, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this one. Appreciate it. Peace. We're out. See ya later on. Bye.